Want to hear a story, huh? What about treasure hunters? Have I got a story for you? Pandora. This is our home, but make no mistake, this is not a planet of peace and love. They say it's a wasteland, that it's dangerous, that only a fool would search for something of value here. And perhaps I am a fool. But do not be fooled by what Pandora appears to be. There was a legend. Many people tell it. The legend of the Vault. My father would always go on about the Vault, even with his dying breath. Advanced alien technology, infinite wealth, fame, power, winning. So you can understand why some little kiddos who hear the stories grow up to become Vault Hunters. Well, I have a story you may not believe, but I tell you it is true. The legend of the Vault is real, and it is here on Pandora. And let's call it a guardian angel, appeared to guide the Vault Hunters to their prize. The tale begins right here on Pandora with the brave Vault Hunters, the guardian angel, and most importantly, me. Next stop, Firestone Depot. Time to gather up your stuff. Who's getting off the bus? You with this nice...
Hello everyone and welcome to my first ever LP on this channel. I'm not sure what I'm going to call this. I'm leaning towards Blast of the Past, but I've decided I'm going to do one of the games that's very near and dear to me, one of the first games I ever played, and more importantly, one of the first games that I ever really got into. And that's Borderlands, a franchise that in the last couple of years has really exploded into popularity. I decided that why not? We'll start here. We'll start where my journey in gaming started. And I decided that I'm going to pick the character that I started off with originally. I'm going to start off with Brick, or the Berserker in this game. I see that he's rarely ever played. He kind of is slotted in with Roland as one of the, in my opinion, weaker characters. I think Mordecai and Siren are far better than Brick and Roland, but we're going to go with Brick.
Don't be alarmed. I need you to stay calm and don't let on that anyone is talking to you. Start making your way off the bus. You don't have any reason to trust me, but I need you to believe that I'm here to guide you. I'm here to help you find the vault. In a moment, you'll be greeted by a funny little robot. Do everything he says. You'll know what I mean when it happens. I'll contact you again soon.
Well, we're here. Don't worry about saying goodbye. I'm sure we'll be doing this all again soon enough. Get off my bus.
Alright, so now with the introductions out of the way, we can actually get into this. So, like I said, Borderlands was one of the first games I ever got into, and by far the first franchise I got into. And of course, speaking of the franchise, here's one of its many mascots. In this game, though, he has a little bit less of a role than he does in the later games. But yes, it is our boy Claptrap. So I've played this game a lot over my life. I don't even know how many times. This is the PC version. I have not played it as much. I don't think I have a complete playthrough on here. I only have one character, but on my old Xbox 360, I probably had a good 6 or 7 playthroughs of this game. Xbox One, I might have 1 or 2 of them. So I've played it a lot. Probably not as hot as some of the seasoned veterans of this game, but I enjoy this franchise a lot. That's why it was one of the main reasons I wanted to start it off with my channel, because it has a very near and dear area in my heart. So I'm really kind of just having a very chill playthrough with this. I might talk a bit about the game and what I dislike about it at times and things I like about it. Like apparently it not giving me the pistol. There we go. Because there isn't really much to this game. This game is more of a framework for what Borderlands would become more than a full-fledged game. I mean, not to say that it is not a game, but it's more of a framework for the rest of the franchise, and the story, there really isn't a story for this game, so. But this will be the tutorial area. This will probably be most of what I'll do for episode 1. I'll just kind of head around the tutorial, and then next episode the game will open up a bit. On Claptrap. Yeah, I have a lot of fond memories of this game, so there will be a lot I will be going over with it. Most of the part of this will go pretty slowly just because it is a tutorial section. So we'll have to deal with some marauders here as Claptrap goes and hides in his little, I guess, hut. I don't even know why this is here, but you will see me also rapidly switch weapons. That's something I like doing during like these little sections. Yeah, Borderlands. I am going to be doing all the Borderlands. This one will probably be the shortest of all of them, just because there isn't really much to it. And I haven't decided what I'm going to do about second playthroughs. If you haven't played Borderlands, I'll explain it as the franchise goes on, what I mean by the things that I'm saying. But for any of you that have played Borderlands, you know that this gameplay is incredibly simplistic compared to the one at Borderlands 2 level, as there is only 3 stats that go into making a gun be the gun that it is. It's also technically elemental, so there's 4 stats. But the game is very basic when it comes to stuff like stats, skill trees. So that's why I'm saying there's not really much to talk about with the game. That's why this one's going to definitely be more laid back, casual, maybe something like Borderlands 2, because there'll be a little bit more to Borderlands 2 to talk about. Also because Borderlands 2 has a lot more of a cultural impact than this game had at its time. I'd probably say that this is the least known of the board. Okay, never mind. Claptrap was just standing there. I thought the game broke at first for some reason. But this one definitely has the least cultural impact of any of them. So. I never realized that the guys actually don't spawn in. You can't see them in here. Yeah, so definitely has the least amount of cultural impact of any of the Borderlands. So I'm not really sure how much of the main fan base has even played this Borderlands. This is definitely the weird stepchild of the game, of the franchise. Because there is a lot of things missing here that you would find in other Borderlands games. There might be a decent amount of people that have played it because it has been like ported onto Xbox One and stuff like that. So. And ding, level up. Yeah, in this game it's level 5 for skills, just like it is in Borderlands 2. So. Sadly, no level 2 skills. It's not until the pre-sequel. It was at least one of the few things that game innovated on. But when we get to that game, I'll have a fun time talking about that one. Though I will say, I don't hate the pre-sequel and probably Borderlands 3 as much as most people do. It's more a disappointment thing than a hate. Yes. It is Dr. Zed, our first main character we're going to meet. A character that had a moderate role in the first and second game, and then kind of disappeared for the third. Kinda did. I wonder if they are gonna bring it back for the fourth one. Claptrap? Okay, thank you. Yeah, you have to sit there and listen to this little tutorial. You can exit out of the menu and go back in to the game and skip that. That's what they usually do in the speed running. There he is, the Zedster. First character to get the cutscene introduction in this game. Yeah, I'm probably going to move a little quicker here because this is kind of just the introduction. Like I said earlier, this game doesn't really have much of a story. It's more just kind of little checkpoints in between events. It's really Borderlands 2 when the story began to actually do something. Come on. Wow, I forgot. Claptrap's very picky on his zone of control. There you go. I was wondering why this guy's weren't spawning again. It's because he's very picky. I gotta wait for him to now get exploded. And now we should have our raiding parties. Now this is one part of the franchise that's about to come up that did not come back in any of the future games. I'm just gonna be right here with the little claptrap unit. Come on. There it is. Yeah, so this is one that did not come back in the future games, which was the idea of repair kits for the claptrap units, because there are more claptrap units in this game than there are in any other, and it's because, well, there's a DLC that'll explain why there is really only one claptrap unit in the later installments, but in this one, they handle your backpack size. Of course, in that one, that's just a tutorial one, so we don't get the... Also, I cannot hit these guys. Yeah, this was not good. Sometimes you can kill all 5 of them before he even opens the gate, but did not do a good job of that. But they handle backpack size in this game. It's not really like an important thing. I kind of understand why they just got rid of it because it's a weird thing. It works better with the Iridian system than just randomly having claptraps on the map that you have to go rescue. But they were the original way that you got backpack units. So now we just got to do a couple little fetch quests here for Dr. Zed. Not really much. Many of the quests in this game are not as complex as they were in the second and third, where at least they had the story aspect, or at least unique things you had to do in some missions to make it not feel so fetchy. This game is just a lot of fetch quests. So you'll be seeing a lot of those. In the later portion, I may cut out a lot of the driving to those areas because did not mean to do that. There's not much that really happens. This game is a very kind of point A, point B affair, which a lot of the Borderlands are, but this one's probably the most atrocious about it just because there's not really much beyond the framework in this game of that system. So we're going to head over here. We're going to get the med vendor up and running, and we're going to buy a shield, which is another thing that's very simplistic in this game. There's no Roid, Amp, Nova. It's all just basic capacity recharge. So, I mean, best way to probably explain Borderlands 1 is it really is just the entry level of Borderlands. As you can see, I've done this section a lot, so I'm kind of flying through it a little bit. But also, I kind of want to move this quick because there's not really much going on. You might seen that she just referenced Naito. He will be the first boss that we'll have to fight. He is kind of the end of the tutorial stage. I will definitely get to him in the second episode. I will probably end it following this quest because this will be a good moment to end off on, because following this one we'll get introduced to our other main Firestone member. So here you just have your basic Marauder enemies that we were fighting back in Firestone. There isn't as much variation in this game. There is also not armored units, so really in this game it's more going to just be, you know, your basic enemy, you're slightly stronger of your basic enemy, and then a slightly stronger version of the stronger version. So yeah, there isn't really much creativity, but I guess kind of looking at it, it's always been how Borderlands has been. It's pretty much just 3 versions of the same unit. It's just in later games they got a little better at hiding that by adding in some more variety, or like an ultra unique, like adding in that fourth level to it, so at least doesn't come around as commonly to noticing that it's really just 3 enemies, all different textured with different health pools. um, but yeah, this, like I said, this will probably just be a very kind of more laid back one because, like I said, Borderlands 1's a very straightforward game, so there won't really be much in the way of talking about like story or even gameplay. Kind of once you get through this first area with the first 2 bosses of the game, I've already seen all the gameplay. So that's why this one will probably be the quickest of all the Borderlands that I'm going to do, because there's not much Borderlands in this Borderlands. But with the turning of that quest, I'm going to call it here. In the next episode, we're going to go meet TK Baha, help him with his 9-toes alleged problem, and try to move into a bit more of the freer part of this game outside the tutorial zone. So I hope you have enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.